Welcome to season 2 of the Happy Sensory Corner podcast. At Mendability, we want to help everyone, but especially when they're vulnerable, to feel happy, more comfortable in their own skin, more confident, proud of themselves, even so that they can be their true selves and we can all journey together through life more happily. Our contribution is to work on brain health. As our brains grow stronger and healthier, you can see that all of us benefit, but especially those among us who struggle with areas like sleep or anxiety or sensory overload or cognitive processing or all these technical terms that mean that you're just not happy in your skin. And so we developed a gentle, family-centered program of whole brain games that boosts brain development, activates the brain's self-healing mechanisms, and all that good stuff. It's based on the neuroscience field of environmental enrichment, and we call it sensory enrichment. So while we're experts in brain development, we know there's so much more that parents have to navigate. One of the hardest things to hear is that parents are struggling in their relationships. It breaks my heart because they need each other now more than ever. If they just realize something like a diagnosis or the child is becoming more complex to deal with, and yet with so much focus on the needs of the child, the marriage often takes a backseat, doesn't see the time and the nurture it deserves. Stress, fatigue, loneliness can bring out the worst in all of us, including the parents. And so it creates a gap that feels almost impossible to bridge when it feels like it's too late. And so it's in this space that I want to sit with this episode, and this is why I'm thrilled to introduce today's guest, Melanie Yates, who has dedicated her life to helping couples reconnect, grow, rediscover the joy and strength in their relationship. So let me give the formal bio for Melanie. Melanie is a relationship and dating coach. Over a decade of experience helping individuals, couples build stronger, more fulfilling relationships. Work focuses on fostering connection, understanding, and emotional resilience. Did I get that right, Melanie? Is this?
Yes.
And those of you who are just listening, there's a lot of hand gestures happening. There's some love hearts that Melanie is sending to everyone. So through one-on-one coaching, seminars, online videos, Melanie has empowered hundreds of clients so far to rediscover the joy and strength in their relationships by implementing small, meaningful changes. And I like the word small because when you're at that stage when everything feels like it's too late and you're really looking at things with just not a pretty lens. um, so I think I'll let you talk about the techniques that you like to recommend because they're varied. And so preparing for this episode, I told Melanie about the parents that we work with. The child has complex needs. Most of the parents that listen to us have a child on the autism spectrum. It could be that the child is severely disabled and non-speaking and distressed. It could be the child is speaking but also very distressed. And the common thread is that it's a very stressful situation for everyone. And very often we talk to parents and it's just the mom, and the mom will leave clues once in a while that, the relationship that used to be there is no longer there, that the support is starting to wane and the loneliness is starting to grow. And when I feel like, oh no, what can we do? What we can do at Mendability is help the child feel happier. And when the child's sleeping, when the child is relaxed, when the child is happy, then there's a lot of stress is removed. But there's still that relationship that has been damaged. And so, Melanie.
Well, hello. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for that incredible introduction. My heart, just as you were talking, just started feeling so full for these parents that have a big job of loving and supporting their children. And I love marriage. I love relationships. And I know that when things are overwhelming, and I have so much experience with that, um, and overwhelm can come in so many different ways, right? So it doesn't have to um, be that you have a lot on your plate. Sometimes even just the way I see life, the way I look at life, my perspective can skew things just enough to not work, to create that feeling of overwhelm. So the first thing I want to say is that it is not too late. I promise it is not too late. Whatever is going on in your relationship, it is never too late to try something different. So whatever the results are right now in your current relationships, including the ones with your children, but we really wanted to focus on you as the parent and your relationship, the marriage relationship, as being able to be allies together and come together and have a connection together to support and uplift you when it's hard. And it sounds like it's hard. And some of us have harder paths. And I don't, I think it's also a perspective, because how I see it is, the way I believe is, God has a plan for all of us. And it's easy to compare and say, that person has it easier than me. And I can assure you, no one gets out of this life without cuts and scrapes and stab wounds, meaning the challenges and struggles. No one gets out without it. So it might look to you like other people have it easier. And I just don't believe that for a second. Um, it can look pretty good on the outside, and that doesn't mean that people are really struggling on the inside. Uh, I know this because of my own life. People have perceived my life looking like, oh, everything looks so good in her life. No, that's not. I've had some really hard things, and I have gone through divorce, and I got to practice a lot of different tools, and that's why I when I said it's not too late, what I meant is, it's not. I don't know if you're going to get divorced. I just know it's not too late to try something new that could work, that could save a marriage. And as I know, I took the time to really make sure and know for myself, without it having anything to do with the other person, what I needed in a marriage and what I needed for me. It had nothing to do with the other person. There was no blame. I worked through the anger, but I came to a place where it was okay to leave. I was released from the marriage, and it's been a good thing. We co-parent. Uh, my son has turned out, he just turned 18. Uh, he knows both his parents love him very much. We are both remarried to other people that are we're just more compatible with the people that we're married to now. And I know that in my marriage that we both did everything we could. No one wants to get divorced. No one wants to get divorced. Like we put in, we both worked really hard on trying to make it work, and it wasn't enough. And I had a really good friend say, you both did what you could, and it still wasn't enough. And this is over years of coming to the conclusion that we could release each other from a relationship that just didn't work as husband and wife under the same roof raising a child. We do much better in separate homes. That being said, I tried on a lot of tools that actually made my marriage so much better. And it was, if you would have seen like what was going on before and after, people would say, well, why did you leave? And, maybe that's for another time. But the marriage I did have, even at the end, was full of more communication, more intimacy, more growth, more love. I mean, it really, when I look back at it, it really is beautiful. And so I just want to encourage you, wherever you're at in your marriage, wherever you are at, it is not too late.
You've dropped a few bombs um, in the last few minutes, and I'm trying like to explore what just happened, I guess to me emotionally when you said what you said. Um, I think I'd like to go to the part where you said it's not too late to try something new. I automatically thought not too late to try something new to fix your marriage. And by that I mean prevent the divorce, prevent the separation, prevent the final cut, right?
How do I know? How do I know that it's not a better thing to be divorced, that you could parent better? I really believe my son is where he's at today because we let go of a marriage that just didn't work for us.
So that's the bomb because I think you don't want the big D, you don't want the divorce, and so you're hanging on by a thread by your fingertips, and one by one you're feeling like you're slipping. Is like this thing is inevitable. So, but you're saying I want to hang on. I want to hang on. I don't want to let go. But you use the word release and you use the word we both worked and we still decided after our marriage had improved so much that no, the best decision was to release each other. So so let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about okay, you're in this situation. It could end in divorce. It could end in you staying together. But the process is not about fixing the divorce then. The
I
process
was
is
just, I told you what happened. Now, when you're in it, the first thing that I had to decide was in this moment, in this day that I'm in right now, I just for today, I like that phrase, like just for right now, just for today, I choose to stay married. I did a lot of therapy on my own. I got a coach. I had marriage counseling. We went to marriage counseling together. We got outside help. Uh, both of us had limited tools on how to articulate and communicate with each other. And that's actually part of the reason why I got into coaching because I learned so much and then I started applying and stuff started getting better. The first thing that I had to decide is, am I in? Am I ready to do something different? Am I willing to, am I willing? Am I willing to work on this relationship? That's a pretty starter question. That would be like the first step.
so when
Because
you say am I in the relationship, am I in the marriage, or am I in something else?
Yeah,
It
I mean,
feels like
yeah, people can be out, they can be married, but they're not in. So, and what I mean by that is this, you know, this day and age, it's really easy to be distracted, to be busy, um, to disconnect. So you can be avoiding, you can be hiding in your marriage. And so asking yourself, am I willing? Am I willing to do something about this? Do I want to do something about it? These are good
it
questions.
feels like a trick question. I feel like every married person is willing to do something about their relationship. I think you're
Good.
asking something else. Or is it then okay, is it like an easy question? It's like everybody's in, okay, you're with me. Now let's what's the next step after that?
Well, it's important to know if you're willing, because guess what? To change, to transform, it's not going to be rainbows and unicorns. And you guys, and this particular group already has to work so hard already. They're already working so hard to be good parents. And my heart just is so full with what you are committed to doing with your children. It is, I just feel like I just want to give you a hug. I want to give you encouragement. I want to inspire you. So I need to know if you're willing to give it a little more, because we're going to have to take a look at ourselves. We're going to have to do, and I know that when you're overwhelmed, because in my circumstance, I was overwhelmed for other reasons, but what was going on at the time, I just had a lot of emotional pain. Um, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And so trying to juggle being a mom, being a wife, being a career woman, I was so overwhelmed. And I didn't have a lot of time. So when someone's saying like, are you willing to do more? I'd be like, I don't know if I'm willing to do more because I'm already here. I don't know if there's anything left. So what I've tried to do is create simple, small changes, and even finding the time to do those. When you change, it does, it's like, it can feel wrong. It doesn't feel right because I have this pattern, these coping mechanisms, this survival mechanism of dealing with my life the way it is. And so I like asking that, do you have are you open? Are you open to doing something different to get something different? That's the real thing. There's going to have to be some willingness and honesty about where I am currently to get some, you know, when I'm looking down the road of where I want to be or what I'm looking like. Sometimes you can be so overwhelmed, you've stopped dreaming. You've stopped thinking about what you want or what you desire. You don't even know anymore. You're just trying to get through the day. Is that answering your question? Am I getting close to where I'm where I want to go with this?
Yes, yes. This idea of desire, I think, because you really, as human beings, only do what you feel like doing. And so get to a place where you feel like making a change, when you feel like finding the 5 minutes, when you feel like it's time. I think this is when things start to happen. So how do you get to that point? Do you have
Well,
strategies for that?
self mastery, self discipline. Because who the heck feels like doing stuff? Like, I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like getting out of bed. It hasn't always been like this for me, but I do not like mornings anymore. And my first thought when the alarm goes off is no. It didn't always used to be like that, but that's how it is now. And so for a little bit during this no phase of my life, I thought, maybe my body's telling me I need more sleep. So because I work for myself now, I gave myself permission. Okay, I'm going to let myself sleep. You know, it, it made it worse. This is just for me. This is just for me. What happened to me, like when I slept in and slept longer, and I'm talking like it almost looked like depression, right? Like sleeping 10 hours. They say 7 and 8, between 7 and 9 hours is like all the sleep you need. You don't need more than that. And I have a feeling that our audience is having way less than that, right? So the thing is, I have to practice self-discipline. How well are you able to control your behaviors, your feelings, self-mastery, developing the self-discipline to get up when I don't feel like it, to build muscle at the gym when I don't feel like it, to go on a date with my husband when I don't feel like it. You know, um, it's important to, I believe everything is a skill. Everything. I believe forgiveness is a skill. I believe sleep is a skill. And I want to give those two separate things, like, because when you learn about how to sleep better and you start applying principles and you keep practicing them, you get better, just like athletes. And, when I think of the Olympics and what it takes. Now, some of these athletes that are in the Olympics, they have some natural born talent, right? It just seems like they're just made for that. And people practice and practice and practice, and they put in the time to become experts, to become masters of a skill. And so guess what? You can do that too. You can learn life skills, and as you practice, you make progress. And if you want to put time in to life skills like an athlete would for a competition, I do believe you can master them. But most of us don't have that kind of time. So just doing small little things um, to start building some integrity with myself, that builds confidence and self-esteem. And when you think about what kind of positive contribution am I giving in my marriage? And sometimes if we haven't taken care of ourselves, we don't have much to give back. So this is a way to just evaluate and reflect on, okay, how much self-discipline do I have? How much self-control do I currently have? Am I responding or am I reacting when something comes up? And, how do I respond when I'm already,
Am I
sleep deprived and my energy is low? And we usually need to build some self mastery with ourselves before we even um, start looking at what's going on with the other person. Because most of us are so busy focusing on what the other person isn't doing that we've forgotten to put some focus on what would make me feel better. What, it's easy to get caught up in all, what's happening around me instead of looking inside and focusing on what I need to do for myself to nurture and fill my cup. And I know people are like, Melanie, you just don't understand. You have no idea what's going on here. And maybe I don't. I just know that everybody can find a couple of minutes to try on something new. To try just, we're going to start small, we're going to start simple, because I developed tools that I could do in the bathroom where no one is going to really miss me if I stay in a couple extra minutes in the bathroom. So those are the kind of tools I'm talking about. But it still takes effort. And for me, it takes accountability, because the way my mind works, it easily loses interest. I get bored, and I am, the way my mind works, it is hilarious. Like, I will do something religiously. I will be able to have a routine, and I will do it. And then just one day I'll just won't ever do it again. So I have to engage my mind. I have to keep engaging my mind so that I'm in, like, I want to do something. I have to keep things fresh. It's really easy for me to just kind of get bored and just not do it ever again. So I I just want to bring everybody into this moment right now, like right now, the day that we're in, not, oh, well, last month, I got my nails done. No, I'm talking about today, right now. We can't stay clean on yesterday's shower, meaning I get to take care of myself today. And just because I've done it once or twice last week doesn't count. Today, what can I do to train my brain that it learns to value and appreciate and invest in my well-being?
I pause for effect. The A lot of bombs. And I know we're going to talk about what happens in the bathroom with Melanie, because I think all the moms, I think I saw myself. Yes, this is the time when it's just me. Well, hopefully, there are some situations where the child is so anxious that there's no way that they would even let the mom go into the bathroom on their own. So they might not be on their own. So to keep that in mind when we talk about bathroom. Um, so you talk, it's I want to go to this idea of, we talked a lot about the self, and you've alluded to the fact that sometimes we're not sure what the other person in the marriage wants to do or is committed to doing. And we're focusing so much on what they're not doing that we forget what we're doing. So, because I know that one of the biggest challenges couples face is, well, resentment, feeling like one partner is doing more than the other, right? So the original question I wanted to ask you was, how do you help couples address this dynamic? I think I know where you're going with this, and maybe the question is not correct. Or I think this is the question that parents have, is like, how do you address this?
Yeah. So I think what comes to mind is, can a change in attitude on my part make things work more smoothly? because once we've gotten on a roll of pointing the finger, it's really hard. It's like, I already know they're wrong, you know? So if we can just take a step back, and I'm going to just speak on, I'm hoping that it's going to apply because this is what happened to me. I was in a marriage where I was pointing the finger and it was definitely his fault.
Well, we all know it was his fault,
And
obviously.
I was full of blame. I was full of anger. I was full of frustration. And it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. So those are some of the feelings that came up for me, and it made me feel powerless. And it was completely unmanageable. Um, and I got a mentor, and she just gave me little things to do to just try to like flip things around. Like I was so focused on what he was doing wrong that she had me keep a gratitude journal, and I had to write something that I appreciated and was grateful for in every day. And I know everybody knows how to do this. I, I know we've all heard have a gratitude list, but this was specific. I had to look for something I was grateful that he did that day. I did not want to do that. So that's something that doesn't take that long, except that my programming was so negative that, first of all, I didn't want to do it, but I said I was willing, right? That's why I asked, are you willing? Because it doesn't really take that much time to think about something that you're grateful for that day. And the other thing that we're doing with neuroplasticity is that we have to repeat. Like, I'm sure you know that the way you train your brain is repeat. So I need to do it. I'm training my brain to look for the good, to look for what I am appreciative of, because I've trained my brain to look for what is wrong. And sometimes I just have to ask myself when I don't want to do it, would I rather be right? Either would I rather be happy? Now, for a long time, I'm trying to share what it was like for me when I first started being willing to try some things on, to try some new behaviors. And one of the things was, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And I thought I was happy if I was right. So would you rather have peace? Would you rather have peace? Because that's what it came down to. Even if you are right, even if you know you're right, it might be more peaceful to let them be right, even if they're not. I know it sounds crazy. Don't knock it until you start trying it on, because you might decide that being happy and being at peace, what could being at peace give you? Could it give you more clarity? Could it give you more energy? There may be a cost to believing I'm happy when I'm right. There was a cost for me. There was a big cost because I did not like the behavior that was going on, and I blamed. And then sometimes I was holding on so tight to, I know I'm right. And I was like putting my dukes up in a way, I was going to fight it out. Like, I know I'm right. And it wasn't helpful. It was not helpful to argue and fight about who's right. it wasn't helpful for me. And I think, I mean, it's kind of like what we learned in kindergarten, right? Like doing it out doesn't really help, right? Like,
But it feels
because the
so
problem is
good.
still there.
Um, okay. Tell us about what happens in the bathroom with Melanie.
Okay.
What would you recommend to a mom who can spare a couple of minutes by staying longer in the bathroom?
Well, your kids can go in the bathroom. I mean, if your kids, I mean, this is just, to me, this is the way I implement quick things because
I think our
everybody goes to
parents
the
are desperate
bathroom.
for a quick win right
Yeah,
now.
quick win.
And we're not solving marriage in a bathroom. What we're going to give them is a gift of a quick win so they can see that everything else that we're talking about is worth exploring further.
Okay. So self-esteem, confidence, feeling like you have energy can be restored with body language. So my favorite thing, and I love this because it's scientific. It's not, the science has proven evidence that by doing a power pose, um, in the bathroom
I just
for
readjusted
30,
my seating position. What's
yeah,
a power
I mean,
pose?
okay. So I always think of Wonder Woman because she has her hands on her hips, and Amy Cuddy did the research. Great books by Amy Cuddy. She's fantastic. You can look her up on. She's done a bunch of TED Talks. She's famous about body language shapes who you are. So if you're in need of some shaping, meaning shaping your mind to believe that you are worth it, that you are loved, body language can do that. Body language can give some, a little oomph. And again, Mel Robbins did a high five challenge. So she would go into the bathroom and do a high five to herself in the mirror. And, the cool thing about this is I believe it works with children too. So they've done the research that just children that had a hard time with test anxiety, just going in the bathroom and closing the stall door and standing in a power pose, feet firmly on the ground, taking up space, hands on the hips for 30 seconds, taking deep breaths in and out, they did better on tests.
All right, so power pose, 30 seconds in a mirror, hands on your hips, Wonder Woman style, or high five. Is there a way for you to find out which one of the power poses is the best one for you? Is there like, do you follow your instinct? Do you try to conjure an image?
I think you get to, I started doing an affirmation for myself. Like I told you, sometimes it's really hard to get out of bed. And I will go into the bathroom and I would give myself a high five. I'm like, Mel, you got up. Yeah, high five. It's going to be a great day. High five. Like, our body knows what a high five means. It's already been programmed. We all know what a high five is. Our brain knows what that is. It
Mm.
releases those endorphins and chemicals and hormones when we give a high five. So it's it's what feels right. It what feels good. You'll know if you like doing it. Um, I think you'll get what you need out of it. Now, this is all this is all a part of self-care and self-love. And the reason why this is so important is that love gives us choices and it gives us peace. And we have to cultivate the skill of, I love myself enough to do something that sounds silly to me and seems pointless. And how is that going to help? Don't you know how hard life is right now?
Well,
How is doing that going to
I
help?
hope that the parents doing sensory enrichment are used by now to doing silly little things that have a deep
Okay.
impact on brain function. They're like,
Exactly.
yeah, I got this. So, okay,
And
so power pose in the mirror, 30 seconds, deep breaths. You talked about affirmation. So there's a version of that where you speak to yourself as well.
oh yeah, I feel like mirror therapy. If you can talk to yourself in the mirror and say nice stuff, no negative stuff, nice stuff. If you can talk to yourself in the mirror, like I think mirror therapy is the best because there's so many sensories that are turned on, and that's how we build those neural pathways, those different ways. So, if you're talking to yourself in the mirror, you're getting the auditory, you're getting the visual, your more senses are turned on using your hands, using just having your shoulders back. Um, these are cues. They're cues to our mind that I'm worth it, that this is good. And so the more senses that we can turn on in the brain, the faster the quicker the result is, because neurons that fire together wire together. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build
Yeah.
these pathways into a different way of feeling about it. I believe feelings really do come from signals from the thought processes. And I've heard it both ways, like feelings and thoughts, like people saying so it doesn't really matter what you believe, if it's the thought and then the feeling, or the feeling and then the thought. It doesn't really matter, because if we're treating both of them, then more is going to keep coming out. More change is available to us if we're recognizing and we are aware that there's something to that. There's something to what I'm thinking. There's something to what I'm feeling. And there is a solution.
Awesome. I like this practical example of the bathroom power pose, because I don't know, it makes things practical and tangible, and so forgive me for putting so much emphasis on this, because I know that is probably one, and probably not even the most important thing that a mom could do in her life to revitalize the part of herself that says, I'm in and I'm going, and through me feeling better, the relationship is going to feel better. And at some point, because to me it's important, romance, I'd love to, how, here's where my train of thought went. I was like, what if you do that just before going to bed with your husband, with your wife, or with your partner? Would that be like a good way to um, line up the ducks so that the time is going to be a happy time, rather than, oh, I have to be in the same place in very close quarters with this person that I have a lot of resentment towards.
Absolutely. I mean, my sex life at that point, when I was so angry, was non-existent. Um, and I got to a place where, and I don't know if other women feel like this. A lot of the women that I've worked with, and just friends and sisters and stuff like that, women need to feel beautiful, and we do like being told we're beautiful, but I need to know I'm beautiful. I need to feel beautiful and know I'm beautiful to want to have sex, to be vulnerable, take my clothes off, and and enjoy it. Now, I was even at a place where I was so angry. I was so angry. I did not want to have sex
But isn't
because
angry sex some of the best sex you can have?
not I've been married for 15 years.
Okay.
That wasn't that's just not, this is my experience. Um, and I remember being willing to have sex even though I didn't want to. And that's why sometimes doing things because you feel them, you know, if you're in a place where things aren't going so right, just being able to say, okay, Friday, we're going to have sex and just do it. Sometimes you have to just do it. And that's what happened for me. You know, it was like, okay. And for women, you don't think maybe, and I don't know what age groups we're talking about, but you know, the older I get, and just taking care of kids does not make us feel like having sex. It doesn't. I've been working all day, doing all
Mm-hmm.
kinds of different things. I'm not thinking about that, you know? So being able to um, build my confidence and my self-esteem with these kind of tools to feel better about myself is gonna help my marriage and help being available to be intimate and vulnerable with my spouse. And sometimes just for me, it started, it felt awkward to start engaging in that way. And it really, after doing it, then things just start going more naturally. But you could be, I don't know who we're talking to, but there could be somebody out there that was like me and was like, I am not doing that. And most of men's love language, that, you know, being intimate in that way is a love language. That is part of their love language. And so this is not about manipulation. I am not saying that, but that is actually a gift of marriage, to use sex to enjoy each other and have a release and feel good. I believe God gave it to us for that. And so, yeah.
Yeah, you touched on scheduling it, and I know it made a big difference in my married life. We're celebrating our 29th by the time this episode's released. Oh no, not 29th, 27th. Sorry, but we've been together 29 years.
That's
Um,
wonderful. So wonderful,
so
wonderful,
so
wonderful,
we're
wonderful.
about we're going we will have celebrated our 27th anniversary by this time it's celebrated, and we've learned along the way that scheduling is one of the best ways for our couple to because we're busy and tired
Yep.
and so just scheduling it made me, oh, this is going to happen, and it sort of got me in gear, you know, and but also I moved my schedule around it because I knew it was a vital aspect of nurturing my relationship with my wife and everything.
And going on
So
dates.
so scheduling it, yeah,
Scheduling a
scheduling
date.
dates and
We
scheduling,
have a
yeah,
schedule for dates
yeah, yeah.
so that no matter what,
There's
and
not,
it doesn't have to be expensive and it doesn't have to be something extravagant. You
yeah,
just need to schedule that the two
one-on-one
of
time.
you are going out. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And out is important.
Leave the
Uh,
house.
leave the house, leave the baggage behind, leave the environment where all this stress happens and all this just and hopefully leave the kid behind. I'm putting a hopefully there because I know that in some situations the loneliness and the the friends don't understand, and it's hard to find somebody who will babysit the child that you have because of the complexities. So hopefully, um, there's so much we could talk about. We didn't do more than 20% of the questions I had. I wanted to talk about, communication and conflict, and I know that you're big into EFT, and I thought we were gonna do like a whole EFT session. Maybe this is how we can end. You know what? If people are listening to this podcast, they've got lots of thoughts and feelings now, right? They want to be in, and they're thinking about the power pose, and they're thinking about sex or lack thereof, and they've got lots of big things happening. So what can you like guide us through like a 30-second or 1 minute session that we can do live? Is this something you can do even with EFT? I don't know.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And EFT is tapping, and it stands for Emotion Freedom Technique. And so
Hmm.
it's a way to shift feelings or shift energy so that um, when you're feeling something really strong, you end up going to the stress part of your brain. And when you go there, the fight, flight, freeze part of your brain, you cannot think. So if you're lacking clarity and you're in fight or flight and you're just totally stressed out, you are not going to be able to problem solve. You are not going to be able to um, show up the way you want to show up. And so uh, tapping has proven to calm the nervous system. Guess what? Sex does that too. So in order for me to grow individually and fill my cup, probably the first thing to do is to calm my nervous system. That's really important because I need to prime my brain so that it's even so that my brain is online, because you know this, that if your brain isn't online, like if it's not on up here and it's in the back of the brain stem, like trying to fight for its life, uh, that's not where we can make new habits. That's not where we can um, do something new. We literally can't do anything new when your nervous system is on high alert like that.
The parents doing that program have heard us preach that over and over and over.
Yeah.
So yes. All right. So what am I going to
And
do? What are
I
we going to do?
absolutely, and I did plan on giving a free gift of a tapping script.
Oh
So
yeah.
would you tell me what you think the number one feeling is that would come up, that would be creating stress in this kind of situation?
Well, in this situation, I want to focus on my relationship, on the people's relationship that are calling. So they're feeling disconnected. They're feeling lonely and resentful and anxious about the future of the relationship.
Okay. So we always start on the karate chop point. You want to,
Which hand? Does it matter?
it doesn't matter. You always want to pick um, the emotion and then the intensity of that emotion. So let's pick
I don't want
lonely.
to break my hand.
It's very, you
Sorry.
can, very soft. Do not
Okay,
tap
okay,
to the
okay.
point where you're hurting. Um, but I think lonely is a good word when you're feeling disconnected, or um, I think anger is too, but let's just focus on feeling lonely, because when our partner isn't doing what we want them to do and they're not showing up and helping in the way that I need them to support me, I feel alone. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of other emotions attached to that, but you always want to, just so that you know it's working, from a 1 to 10, how intense do you feel alone in your marriage? How intense
Okay,
is the loneliness from a 1 to 10?
okay.
Kim, You tell me what's your number.
My number, I'm not lonely. I've
Okay.
got I'm really lucky in that space. I feel like a princess, so I don't feel like I understand too much what's going on in other couples. So I'm probably not a good example.
Okay. So we just want to tap. What we're doing is we're tapping in to an emotion.
I'll tell you what, I'll go into a place because I can remember a time when I wasn't as happy as I am today.
Okay.
Okay? And I'll go to that
That's
place.
going to be
And
helpful. So bringing up that thought.
I'm bringing up that thought, and I was feeling very, very disconnected, and it was very intense. And I'm gonna say I was like at a two. If zero is the worst loneliness ever possible, I was over there.
Okay, so it would be an 8 because we're going to rate the
Got
intensity
intensity of the
as
emotion was
10
8. Yeah, okay,
is a really high intensity is
got
10.
it.
So so we're going to say 8 when you think of this one time.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
there.
perfect. Okay, so even though I feel really
Do,
lonely,
do you
you're
want
going
me
to
to
repeat.
repeat? Even though I feel okay, I see two fingers tapping anywhere on the karate chop, so there's not like a okay. All right.
Yeah.
Even though I feel really lonely,
I accept myself and honor my feelings.
I accept myself and I honor my feelings.
Even though I feel alone in this situation
Even though I feel alone in this situation
and the person that's close to me isn't available,
and the person that is closest to me is not available,
I love and accept myself
I love and accept myself
and honor my feelings.
and honor my feelings.
Even though it's really lonely when I can't depend on my partner.
It, sorry, I got distracted because I was thinking about how frequently or how I, I I don't know if I'm tapping properly. You're seeing my screen. Am I does it matter what I do? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Even though I feel alone in this relationship,
Even though I feel alone in this relationship,
I love and accept me.
I love and accept me.
I give myself permission to have my feelings.
I give myself permission to have my feelings.
On the top of your head, you're going to tap on the top of your head, real soft. All these feelings
All these feelings.
on your eyebrow. I just feel alone.
I just feel alone.
On the side of your eye, this person isn't here for me.
This person isn't here for me.
Under your eye, we're married, but it's like I'm alone.
We're married, but it's like I'm alone.
See around your mouth. I don't like the way I feel.
I don't like the way I feel.
On your collarbone, this feeling
This feeling.
that has to be their fault,
It has to be their fault.
and this loneliness.
And this loneliness.
I'm just alone.
I'm just alone.
Underneath your armpit, on the side, I'm alone.
I'm alone.
My partner isn't available.
My partner isn't available.
All that loneliness.
All that loneliness.
I'm dealing with it alone.
I'm dealing with it alone.
Lonely.
Lonely.
And as you tap on the top of your head, you're going to just think about that pain of being alone and the circumstances that make you feel alone in this relationship while you're tapping. So I want you to just, you can even close your eyes and pull up those feelings while you're tapping of how this relationship isn't going very well. And you can keep your eyes closed and you don't have to repeat after me, but you're going to move your tapping to your eyebrow. And just consider that this person is doing the best they can. Consider that you're doing the best you can. And then on the side of your temple, you're going to see this person in the way you want to see them. Maybe you're going to see them when you first met them and the way that you looked at them back then, the way
Or
you
the way I
felt
look at
about
them
them.
today, because now it's completely
Now it's
different.
good. So you're going to pull up a happy memory
Hmm.
of this person underneath your eye. And consider all the things about that person that you love, that you appreciate. A C around your mouth so that you're tapping above your lip and below your lower lip. See that person smiling. See that person happy to see you. See yourself happy to see them on your collarbone. Consider some things that you could do to feel less lonely that has nothing to do with them. And see yourself feeling happy with or without them. And then I'm going to have you take some deep breaths in while you're tapping on your collarbone. And think of the feeling that you want to replace the loneliness with. And I like the word acceptance. I'd rather accept. I'd rather be at peace. I'd rather feel a belonging. I'd rather feel connected. And then just as we're tapping on the collarbone, I'm just going to have you say, I feel connected.
I feel connected.
I can choose to connect.
I can choose to connect.
I give myself permission
I give myself permission
to connect.
to connect.
Okay, you can gently stop tapping and you can open your eyes and just take a really nice deep breath in and out. So they say that just by tapping, you can lower your heart rate, you can lower your blood pressure, you can just, it just has a calming effect on your nervous system. Now, when you think about that situation where you were really felt alone and sad, what is your number now?
When I revisit this moment, I'm trying to remember the 8, but it's not there. Um, it's not there. I'm outside the house and I feel happy with or without her. I'd feel connected with the universe and myself independently of her. That's what I see.
Okay, well that we couldn't ask for any more than that. That's like amazing. And
Okay.
sometimes we can use tapping to look at the past with trauma, with PTSD. Um, you can use tapping for physical pain. You can use tapping for cravings. Um, I believe that all stress and physical pain and cravings have to do with emotional, um, emotional pain. And
Mm,
so when we start tapping individually, it's more comes out. Like sometimes words might even come to your mind while you're tapping because when you lower the stress level, the clarity of mind, then your mind is online again, right? And you might even intuitively know what's bothering you. um, I've been having some neck stuff going on with just recently, and I started tapping. Even though there's this pain in my neck, I love and accept myself and honor my feelings. And then I was just like, oh, there's this pain in my neck, and the intuitive thought of what things in your life feel like a pain in your neck, and all this emotion came up. Like I was like, well, I'm really angry about this. It's like a pain in my neck. And I just kept tapping and the words were coming out and I started crying. And this is called a release. And sometimes it can be that dramatic where I thought I was fine. I just have some, my neck is a little sore. It's a pain in my neck. And I started recognizing that actually that little pain in my neck is because I'm thinking about this thing that kind of bothers me and it makes me sad and I have anger and it has actually helped release these muscles that are so tight. And I'm sure we can all relate to when we're stressed out, our shoulders start going up like this, and that can hurt your neck and your shoulders and blah blah blah, right? So it makes sense that the best thing that we can do for ourselves today, right now, is to breathe, put one foot in front of the other, look for ways to calm that central nervous system.
we went way over time, but I'm so glad we did. Thanks for doing this with us, Melanie. There's so much we could talk about, and I feel like I really hope that we gave a powerful gift to everybody listening, that they'll feel a surge of confidence in themselves and in their ability to nurture their relationship.
I
Thank you
hope
so
that
much,
for
Melanie.
everyone. Absolutely. Thank
I
you.
say, everybody, enjoy. I hope this was helpful and have a blessed week.